Hi, Tom. Could you repeat after me?
Indeed.
I, Thomas Patrick Kelly,
Ooh, full name. I feel like my mom. I, Thomas Patrick Kelly,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear.
to make the lyrics so free and the bar so hard that there ain't one gosh darn part you can't tweet.
Uh, what?
All right, start the show.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, little. I was listening to a little Life of Pablo earlier today. It's Chance's verse on the opening track of that Kanye West album. Anyhow, how are you, my good man?
Oh, it's a Kanye song.
It's the song off of the most recent album, The Life of Pablo, from like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and Chance got a verse on it. Anyway,
Okay, cool.
the song's called
Dope.
Ultralight Beam. It has not been one of our songs of the week because I don't know. I think the show started after the album came out. So anyway,
Sure.
let's jump right into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. I tweeted something a couple days ago. I think I Facebooked it and Instagrammed it as well. We talked at the beginning of last episode about my rent going up 470% to about $7,000 a month.
Right.
I had recorded a conversation. I went into the leasing office and I talked to the leasing manager. And,
I saw you tweet this. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess they didn't know you were recording the conversation.
Accurate.
What? Why? Just like why? What was the end game here? Like, it sounds like you're not going to play it today, but I'm just curious. I know you were upset, but walk me through. That's a hell of a roller coaster of emotions.
Why I was going to record it?
Yeah, and what you plan to do and what you hoped that would happen. Because that is some. What is that? The movie The Camp Nowhere, where they have all the hijinks at the end when the parents come to visit. It just sounds like some weird '90s kids movie. Like, got him. I don't know. Like, I'm just curious. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
It was entertainment value. I didn't think there was going to be anything incriminating,
Right. Okay. That's what I was curious. Like, you were going to Harriet the Spy that shit. Like, oh yeah, caught them in their own lies. Corruption, I shall fight thee.
I did ask. I was like, "Is this legal?" But basically, I went into the office. They had a package there waiting for me, and I was like, "Hey, man, can we have a conversation about the lease agreement?" And he's like, "Yeah, sit down." He's like, "So what's your question?" And I was just like, "How do you justify charging $7,000 a month for rent?" And he just went, Let me pull up your file." Like it was. It was a 17-minute conversation that I edited for brevity down to like 3 minutes. I was gonna play it, but I think what I'm gonna do is, if people want to hear it, maybe I'll put a link in the show notes to it, or I will, because it was an interesting conversation. It's about the maddest you will ever hear me get. It was me at like a 6, maybe, which is a calm voice, but a lot of swearing. Not at the guy, just general frustration. I think if I'm ever more than a 6, I just kind of see red and don't say anything. So I don't think you would ever hear me get angrier than this. But overall, it was just me asking a bunch of questions.
So you're saying this is the most angry you can get while still making audible noises.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Which sounds like the sweet spot. Sounds like no one wants to catch you at a 6.
It's where
Maybe
I'll be
I drive
outspoken.
by you or speedily walk by you at an 8. Just be like, something's going on there. But you would comment on the scenario if it were a 6, which is what you were in this case. Which is you sound a little huffy, a little heated, a little off put by the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation, and I made it clear that, like, dude, I'm not mad at you, right? You're not the one raising my rent. It's not even this apartment building. It's like a management company out in Texas that just doesn't care about the people. They just want to make the most money they can, essentially. But what gave me a change of heart about actually airing the conversation, which again, I'll put it in the show notes. It's like a 3-minute clip, whatever. The guy is super nice. I went in today because I had to get another package, and I knocked on his door, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry if like you thought I was like mad at you or anything. Like, I don't think you're the bad guy. I just wanted to apologize if I took any of the anger out on you. I know it's not you. It's just a shitty situation. And he was like, "Oh no, I think you handled it pretty well. Definitely better than some of the other people did." So,
before I ask you what the explanation was, I just want to get this off my brain because it's been distracting me for the last minute. You said the word brevity, and I just imagined the shortest play ever written, or the shortest musical ever written, and the only song is written to the tune of "Gravity" from Oz, or the Oz prequel about the witch. What's that called?
I don't know.
The one about the Wicked Witch of the West.
The Wizard of Oz?
No, there's like a prequel musical.
Oh, Wicked.
Wicked, yeah. It's like to the tune of Gravity from Wicked, but
Defying
the whole play
Gravity?
is just that song and it's riffed. You'd be like, I defy brevity. But really, the play. But then I thought the play would have to be long if you're defying brevity. Anyway, it's not a fully formed thought, but it's been distracting me.
I actually saw Wicked in New York City from like the fourth row orchestra center with the original cast. Little fun fact.
Hey, wow. I'd love to hear that story sometime. But neither here nor there, and I apologize for the aside.
It's okay.
In the spirit of not defying brevity, would you like to tell me his explanation for why the spike? Did he know what the corporate office was up to?
So this is the first. God, I feel like it would be faster just to play the clip. With the explanations. You can plop it in.
But there was a reason you were going to come up with, or you had toyed with the idea of not playing it for reasons that you have not yet explained.
Right. So his explanation, and he's just a guy sitting in the office. He doesn't make the shots. He was saying that they have a system that analyzes the market and this and that, and it spits out a number depending on a bunch of different things. And he says, this isn't an offer that we are giving. This is what the system is saying, so this is what we're bound to. But the $7,000 is... So we're on a month-to-month agreement, and it's already gone up twice. He was saying it's an incentive to sign another 13-month lease. And I was like, that's not an incentive, dude. Like, that's a threat to, like, get the f*** out of here, you know?
See, we talked about this last week, though. Like, they're allowed to want you to sign for longer stretches than month to month, right? Instead of constantly worrying about whether or not they'll have to put an ad out back for that particular room.
Yeah, it was weird to me, though, that, like, a 12-month lease was, like, $3,000 a month, but a 13-month was, like, $1,550, which is about what we're paying now, but the only decent option was 13 months, which you're right, like, you can't blame them for, like, wanting
it seems par for the course. I mean, obviously the numbers are staggering, but is that kind of what he said? Or, I don't know,
It was basically like they're doing everything they can to get you off month to month. They'd rather have a vacancy than have month to month.
And I guess I guess I'm still, and I really hate to just like, I'm trying to think of a good phrase. Not shit in your breakfast. There's a better like phrase for that. Something about Cheerios. Yeah, something about urine and Cheerios. But I just don't see how that's that like. It's not. That doesn't seem new to me in the landlord game.
No, you're right. And from what I've heard, Colorado is a very landlord-friendly state, and they can do whatever they want whenever they want. And he said that. He's like, I don't want to bring up the lease, but like, you signed that we can charge whatever we want and change it whenever we want. And I was like, all right, dude, well fuck me then.
Landlord-friendly state or not, they also have hordes of people just kind of showing up, needing places to, needing roofs over their heads. So I doubt they're worried, and that sounds callous, but this is part of I don't know.
Right. So anyways, like
they're not hurting, right?
Right. Well, there are some vacancies here.
Oh.
So I don't know why they'd want more necessarily, but he was like, I think it's a huge mistake they're making. This is the first time that they're having a round of this. And once they see that 4 or 5 people have left, maybe they'll be like, okay, this was a mistake. A $7,000 rent payment seems like a big you, rather than like, hey, how about you stay a little longer? It's just.
Yeah, I guess I would assume the housing market in the Denver area or in Colorado in general would cool off eventually, right? It's been 2.5 years since they legalized weed. My timeline might be off, but
something like that.
Yeah, there's got to be a bubble burst at some point where it starts to be like, okay, people aren't willing to pay that much just to be there, right?
Right. We just went and saw a house yesterday. Granted, it was like a tiny bit smaller than our apartment. It was about 100 square feet smaller, but a house for $1,600, which is a little less than what we're paying right now. So, like, why is an apartment so expensive? And it's because it's a huge corporate entity that's trying to make as much money, whereas this house was owned by, like, a guy and his wife, So it seems like we have other options. We're going to, leave here. We have to be out February 28th. But yeah, I talked to this dude, and he was like, were you at View House on Friday? Which is a bar downtown that has, like, cornhole and foosball and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I was playing cornhole with my buddy Jimmy. And he's like, dude, I was standing, like, right next to you for, like, a half an hour. And I recognized the Tesla hoodie. And I remember looking over and seeing this guy in, like, sunglasses inside, and we were both like, look at this tool, And it was him, and I just thought that was so funny. Like,
oh, yeah.
We were right next to him, like, 2 days before I went to his office and just blew up,
Right.
So we ended up talking, and I was like, I feel bad that I just, like, recorded him for, like, entertainment, But I still think
he's either going through a crisis or just doesn't get it if he's working at a rental agency and wearing glasses inside a bar. It's like, I wish him the best. As they'd say in the South, bless your heart, sir. Oh, bless his heart. What a
but he was nice, and I don't want to blow up his spot, but sure. I'll put a link in the show notes if people really want to hear it.
For what it's worth, related to not, the Wicked part, the traveling version has a balloon that they put up in the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, and it says "Defy Gravity" on it, and I've always kind of liked that.
Very cool.
Anyway, I hope your housing woes solve themselves soon.
Well, yeah.
On your way out, you should raise both middle fingers and just blast Gravity from that show, or the whole soundtrack for that matter.
Well, they're having a selfie campaign where they want you to, like, take selfies on the property and upload it and hashtag a certain thing. And I thought about just taking, like, 1,000 pictures with, like, the lease agreement that says $7,000, just, like, all over the property,
You could do that, or you could do the Gravity thing and then pull a Michael Scott and be like, you have no idea how high I can fly, and scream that, and they'll be like, too many cultural references. And you won't have anything. No, yeah, I'd go with the Instagram takeover.
All right, well, let's move on. We already spent way more time than I planned on it.
Well, we could delve a little more into the Wicked thing. I've never seen the show per se, but if you want to head down that path, or we could go, what we had talking about earlier.
All I can say was when I was, 15, and I saw that show, and I got to hug Kristen Chenoweth afterwards. She was a lot shorter than I thought she would be, and she was very charming.
Oh, well, that's a pleasant anecdote, sir.
And
I'm using "sir" too much. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone.
The guy, his name was Leonardo Butz, Butz.
Awesome name.
He played, was it oh god, what was his name? It was with an F. He was like, he lived in Erie for a while or something like that. I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, it's like better than Burt Macklin as far as like a fake name. Like, I'm Leonardo Butz. That's the best thing I've ever heard. I'm gonna get that tattooed on my chest. Property of Leonardo Butz.
Speaking of Burt Macklin, I'm wearing a Mouse Rat shirt right now.
Oh. We are just piling on the cultural references today. What would Leonardo Butz think? Not much,
he would think that Scarecrow Boat had much better singles than Mouse Rat did, probably.
Whoa. Sounds like a steaming hot take that I do not understand, but I appreciate the creativity and the gesture.
Let's go. Let's move on.
All right, let's we might as well do the show. Get right into it.
Are we going?
Any more housekeeping notes?
Yeah, I wanted to give our buddy Mateo a shout out.
Oh, yes.
Real quick. We had a guy,
Very passionate young man.
right, and it's funny. I was just thinking about him because I was just going off about Tom DeLonge today. This guy Mateo sent an email to me, the Elemental FM address. What was that? Probably 15,000 words about Tom DeLonge, the history of him as a UFO researcher and what his company is doing, and cross-referencing the people associated with his company with other articles and videos. It was
very thorough.
It was better than like any research project I've ever done. Like,
right,
for
and it
a
was
grade,
just an email he sent. It's like more well researched than anything.
It was really, really amazing. It's a lot of stuff to get through.
We didn't really know what to say because it was hard for us to write as much back. You know what I mean? To be like, to meet him at his level of intensity, but we wanted to say that we were grateful for the thought put into it.
And what happened was I forwarded the email to Pat and was like, yo, check this out. What do we say? And we had this whole conversation. And then when I replied to the guy Mateo, all of those emails got sent to him as well. So,
because at first we were a little scared, right? Based on how many attachments there were to the original. And they were all just links to the articles and stuff, but...
Right, I was worried about phishing, you know?
I think there was reason to be hesitant in today's current climate.
But, yeah, I was like, I haven't emailed or I haven't opened the attachments because we're about phishing. And then you were like, yeah, we get some crazy people emailing the station all the time. And then those emails got sent to him.
Yeah, I felt bad for sure.
But he was like, don't feel bad. That's how email works. Like, people see things they shouldn't. But it's not phishing. I don't think I'm crazy. I'm just super passionate.
Yeah, in hindsight, it would be a scam that would only be targeting us. So, like, it wouldn't be worth his time to write that much. You know what I mean? There's not a very wide net being cast there in hindsight. Like, let's get these two guys that host this show I heard about a topic they've talked about recently to click these links I've sent.
He said he did say that he sent the email to some, like, major publishers to try to, like, get them to pick up a story. Mm-hmm. And he must have heard the episode, probably maybe from Reddit or something, or just searching it.
And we'll have to follow up on that. And for people just joining us for the first time this week, it was one of our most listened to episodes in November, was it? The Tom DeLonge, when he made his announcements about the To the Stars Academy. And there was a kind of an update, which we'll have to maybe touch on next week. New York Times came out and reported some video from 2006 or 2004, I think, of an unknown, a UFO, an unidentified flying object. And it kind of moving in a way that is described at the beginning of Tom DeLonge's book, Secret Machines, and that was described by one of the members of his board for To the Stars Academy in the press conference for the company about, the military documenting unidentified objects moving in a way that was past the technology we have to fly, right? Have you seen that yet?
I haven't watched it, but I know that one of his board members was in the video or quoted by New York Times.
Right. Yeah. So this week, kind of the joke on Twitter was, the usual Trump apocalyptic stuff. California's on fire. Also, aliens are the third most important story, like super duper confirmed alien metal that the government has somewhere in a filing cabinet. So, Tom's claims and what they're studying slowly becoming not so far-fetched, right? I guess. And we'll have to follow back up on that, especially because there's a lot to talk about in what Mateo laid out in his emails. So anyway, thanks again for listening and writing in, Mateo. But yeah, go back and listen to that episode if you're interested in what we're talking about. He spoke with Joe Rogan about the company, and that's kind of what we discuss, that and, our own opinions on the whole thing. But yeah, aliens. Wild.
It was my favorite episode. I'm glad he appreciated it. And we have probably 3 episodes worth of material that he provided. And I really do over this Christmas break, I want to start chipping away at it. Been super busy, but yeah, thanks. It's amazing. I'm super excited about it. And I hope you're listening now, Mateo. We appreciate you.
I think that's the last of the housekeeping.
One quick thing.
Okay.
We are recruiting for our indoor soccer team. We already have a goalie and right defense covered. So if you want to sign up for your position,
I don't know if anybody out there knows anything about soccer, but we're basically fully there. We just need a few more players, but goalie and one defender we're already
Julie
pretty
covered
close.
goalie. I think Emmy, who was the girl who listened to the Taylor Swift episode and had a lot to say about that.
Plenty, some might say. Yeah.
She's right defense. So the other positions
And again,
are open.
like everybody knows, goalie and right defense, we're practically there. We don't need any more signups, but if you want to come play, we're pretty set as is with the two most close to the goal players that would be on the field. But yeah, it's like we care, but we don't care. But like, hit us up if you want, but we're not like desperate.
Right. But you can tweet at us at _reminiscent FM.
And again, like we didn't need to tell you what our Twitter handle was because we don't necessarily, we're not like begging, but hey, we're friendly guys. So it is, hey,
And for you Europeans out there who don't know what we're talking about football.
Yeah.
Not American football.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we're talking about relaxation this week. And, what we do to, what helps us, I don't know, not get centered because we joke about that when we do relaxation bits, which we'll probably do before we dive totally in. But yeah, we want to talk about like what's vacation to you, what needs to occur during that, what does it take to get relaxed, how do you clear your head, short of using substances, I suppose. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Tom, I was wondering if you would be so kind as to join me in a relaxation session as we prepare for this week's topic.
I will. We have no notes, so we'll see where this goes.
I'll let you start us off.
Oh God, dude.
That's not that doesn't sound okay. Deep breath. That's a good place to start.
I don't know if I can do it.
Well, we're either on a beach or a field. I can't think of any other relaxing places. Let's
what
try
if
though.
we're
we're in the desert.
Well, I was going to say, what if we're at the top of a 30,000 foot mountain meditating before we make our way down on either skis or a snowboard? Make it winter theme?
Oh, so it's snow. Okay. Okay. So we've taken our, okay. Let me, I'm trying to find myself there, getting swept away. Yes, we're sitting cross-legged, overlooking just a vast land. We've been here for a bit, and as we slowly start to feel the temperature, we try to feel every part of our bodies, from our fingers to our toes, and we inhale through our nose, and we exhale through our mouths.
So as we're sitting there cross-legged at the top of this beautiful snow-white mountain full of fresh powder, you look down, and all you see at this point are the tops of clouds. You are so high in the air. You are ready to plunge into the unknown, ready for what lies ahead.
Yes, and you think to yourself that one Kid Cudi lyric about staying so lifted that you've become accustomed to new heights, and you feel that way. You really do, and you're like, oh, I guess, without drugs, I'm feeling that now, which is cool, and I should write Scott Mezzacuddy about this, even though he may or may not answer his fan mail. But that doesn't bother you because of how centered you're becoming, thinking and feeling every cell in your body. As you slowly unravel your legs from the Indian sitting position, you stand. You stretch your arms up, you stand on your tippy toes, and you take another very cold, and again, it's a crisp breath into your nose because it's a very high elevation. There's snow, and then you just let it out, and you're standing flat-footed, overlooking this vast, vast land, and it occurs to you, I'm centered, or I'm becoming close to, pretty darn close to being centered. Perhaps I should begin to make my way down this mountain.
So you take your little toesies and you put them into your bindings and you clip into your brand new snowboard, and you're ready to just rip down this mountain. So centered, you're gonna just breeze down there. You push off and you start riding through the tops of the clouds, again, not knowing what you're about to meet on the other side.
Yeah, there's pow to be cut and there's gnar to be shred. And this is you and your own.
So as you're riding down the mountain, the clouds start to clear, and you see, as you come out of them, a total hellscape as you were snowboarding into it. And you're riding and just avoiding every obstacle that's in your way, and you're ripping through this fresh cut pow, and I don't know where to go from here, so you take it, Pat.
You see your friends and family just being ripping each other apart as the zombie apocalypse starts to descend on this tiny little mountain town in southern Colorado. And if it weren't for how centered you were, you may be more concerned as you just see the entrails digested, going from the belly of one zombie relative into the mouth of another zombie relative. Just blood and gore, white snow becoming red, damp liquid as it goes down the mountain. No faster than you are shredding gnar. And again, luckily you have become centered, otherwise this may throw you off a bit. Yeah, as you get down towards the mountain, you see one of the checkpoints, a middle of the hill bar that has become just infested with just beings of another world, the undead, if you will. And they spot you. And it feels so good to be noticed, to be really seen, you know?
So as you cut off to the left, away from this checkpoint full of the undead, you get to a little opening, and you come to a stop. You make a nice carve, throwing up all the snow as you go heel side.
Oh.
And you sit down thinking, oh my god, how long was I meditating on top of that mountain? It must have been ages, because I can't even comprehend how things got so out of hand in just a few minutes.
Right, usually it starts with a zombie, but there are dozens. Dozens of blood-sucking creatures at this point. It had to have been days, and you know how you can get away, let yourself get carried away with how centered you're becoming.
So you look to the left and you look to the right, and you see that you seem to be in a safe haven. You are safe. You're centered.
Very peaceful grove in between the trees.
And you're feeling like, I'm gonna make it out of this. And you see from the trees a dog walking towards you, and you think, wow, I love dogs. I'm so happy there's a dog here right now. But as it gets closer, it gets bigger. It gets way bigger. And it's a grizzly bear, and he's running at you full speed.
Yes. And you have this standoff, and it's just pure nature, you're in this peaceful grove, the snow is gently falling, Christmas is a few days away. Oh gosh, the times you used to have with warm drink and the warmth of kith and kin, just making your soul triumphantly abound. And the grizzly sees that you are a person of this world, and it wanders off. You just start to notice the wildlife, and there are birds chirping, and you see this majestic wolf walk up in between the trees, and it notices you as the bear did. Just you look into its eyes, just pure raw mother nature. You find the beauty of that, and before you know it, it gets caught in a snare and lifted quickly into the air, and then zombies just descend on it and start ripping it from limb to limb. Just again, how quickly white pure snow can become blood, melting redness. The hellscape has found you once more, as you are a presence in this world, refuses to let you go.
So as you start to think about how advanced these zombies are, as they make a pulley system that could lift a young wolf into the air, you think, has it been centuries I've been on that mountain? This is an advanced civilization of zombies. I don't know if there's anything that I can do. And just as you're thinking
this is
that...
a disturbing amount of cognition for this particular form of zombie. Unbeknownst to the tales you've been told in your time here on Earth.
And just as you're starting to lose your centeredness...
No, nay, sir, if you don't mind me interjecting. You find that, given how centered you are and how close to Earth, you, at this point, choose to give yourself over. Because if these zombies are setting traps, then there's just no reason to fight. And you figure the beauty of Mother Nature will let this course run its through, but you do not want to be involved. And you take one of your freshly sharpened skis or the side of your snowboard, and you just put it gently against your throat and begin to sled. And you watch as the blood trickles down onto the freshly fallen snow, as you watched happen all the way down the mountain. And you give yourself to Mother Nature because of how centered you are.
That's exactly what I would do.
Oh, no. And you feel, for the first time in your life, truly relaxed. As you struggle to let a relaxing
in the
breath
desert, the desert island / zombie apocalypse episode, you asked what I would do in the zombie apocalypse, and I said immediately kill myself.
Yeah. I guess fans of the show would have seen.
Oh God,
our minds both head in that direction. This is the first time we've included a monster in that. Like usually, it's just the relaxer in, the environment he's in. But that took an interesting turn with, adding a Halloween monster there. And I blew it with them being able to set a trap. I knew I had f***ed up as soon as I said it.
Well, I was going to make the grizzly bear come back and you think it's saving you and it's going to attack the zombies, but then the bear kills you.
Oh, I should have known. When you said animal dog, I thought you were going to go like he realizes it's a wolf and then they just eat the wolf. Or I don't know. I should have gone with the bear thing. Anyway.
No, I like that better.
Just slowly letting yourself go. Because... Anyway.
That's the first time that we've gone into a relaxation with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Because like the first time,
well, usually the first time the relaxer didn't die. This is starting to build on itself in a really disturbing direction, quite frankly.
Well, the first time you just said it's in a meadow. Yeah. And then the second time, all you said was it's on a beach.
Right.
And I think the crab bit my dick.
You get taken away in an ambulance. Right. Yeah, you took it to an odd spot where a horseshoe crab.
Which doesn't make sense.
And, well, I guess neither would a zombie apocalypse, I guess.
But no, he did die. Remember, he drifted out to sea in the shark.
So the relaxer started dying to relaxation bits in. Maybe we take it. I don't know. Either we take it further or we reel it back. Maybe next time we'll decide. We'll know what we feel. I like the guru at the top of the mountain. Finding peace thing though. That was a good place to start.
Cool. So thank you. It was different. We can do desert next time because we had the meadow, the beach.
Yeah, there's got to be like
living room.
What do CEOs go on those sweat lodge retreats?
There's gotta be the ayahuasca
right, something.
Vision quest.
Yeah, we'll do a vision quest next time.
Oh my god, dude.
But yeah, Edit, like we said, you said you had a few things you wanted to talk about on this topic. I was thinking about this because the year's wrapping up. Some people have vacation days maybe they need to use they didn't use on the stuff they might have wanted to, or they have not had one to use for a while. Maybe you took a big week-long vacation this year. Maybe you didn't take any. Maybe you took a bunch of 3-day weekends because you had some weddings to go to and this and that, and you had to kind of chop up your year. We were going to talk a little bit about what our preferences are and how, sometimes vacations aren't that relaxing, because of travel, things like that, and you end up more tired than you would have been. I guess I was just going to kind of open the floor to you, Tom, and ask you what your thoughts. What does it take for you to be relaxed?
Well, I want to start off by asking, what was the first job that you had that actually had paid vacation time? And like, how did that feel to you at first?
It was my first job out of college, I bet. And it felt fine. It felt good.
Right.
It didn't take that. It happened very quickly, just like getting used to like, this seems right. Like, I deserve this, It didn't take very long to be like automatically assume that was par for the course. And kind of, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, so like through college and a couple years out of college, I was still working at the coffee shop. So holidays meant that you worked twice as hard. And since they had more people on staff, you made less money. So holidays were always like the absolute fucking worst.
Gotcha.
Because we pooled our tips, with the people you worked with on that shift. So when I first got my job at the wood shop, I started mid-June. And I remember like 4th of July came around and they're like, all right, see you Tuesday or, whatever. I was like, what do you mean? Like, oh, it's 4th of July tomorrow. We're not going to work. And actually, I think 4th of July was a Sunday, but then you got Monday off because you had that federal holiday or whatever. And I was like, are you for real? Like, it just totally didn't occur to me at all, you know? And I just remember all day being like, I'm getting paid right now, dude. I'm getting paid to do nothing. Like, I felt like such a fucking gangster, even though it's like such a normal thing, you know? Like, I feel like I cheated the system somehow.
Right.
I just didn't realize, like, how, yeah, I don't know. It was incredible. And those are just like the federal holidays. But then after my first year at the wood shop, I had 5 vacation days, and that absolutely blew my mind as well. I feel like I can't ever go back to a job that doesn't have.
Well, let me ask you this: what did
off.
you used to do to, let your batteries recharge before you had paid vacation days?
Well, I think you mean just like on the weekends or whatever.
Yeah, like how would you ever get overwhelmed or?
No, mostly because I think I was just young, like.
Oh, right.
I started at the wood shop. I think I was 23. So at that point, it was still like you can just go all the time, and it didn't matter. I'm only 26 now, but if I don't get like 8 hours, I'm dead the next day. But yeah, I mean, back then I would like try to do stuff. I would ride my bike, or Megan and I would try to get on a hike with the dog down by the small waterfalls out in Virginia. But I feel like I was more active on my time off than I am now, for sure. And I don't know why that changed necessarily. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like on my days off, I would just either try to do something outside with friends back when I had friends, or I'd work on music, or we would try to like.
Your line of work has changed also, though.
Dramatically, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
I mean, you're outside every day now, so that's not something you would long for or want to enjoy.
Right.
You've talked about that a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, is it not moving? Is it moving? What's that look like now? A day where you, a treat yourself day, if you will.
Like last weekend, I did play a lot of Zelda, mostly because the new DLC pack came out. I've been trying to play that quite a bit. I'm also like, usually on my days off, I'll just like watch Netflix, try to do something related to the podcast network. Like recently, we've been working on getting the Ad Astra shirt, the t-shirt design up and for sale. But I usually have a lot of plans, like a lot of things that I want to do. They're all pretty much inside. And then I end up watching just a lot of Netflix and making some variation of elbow macaroni, because I hate cooking. So I try to do as little cooking as possible. And I think I just try to do as little as possible for the most part. Yeah. Am I answering the right questions? I feel like I'm not.
No, you're on it. I was trying to think how to answer them myself, because I have an off day today as we record on a Tuesday. I just worked 7 days in a row, and then it'll be another 6 after this. There will be a quick weekend, then another 6. But yeah, I didn't really know what to do with myself today, because I knew we were going to record, and I knew I had to get my car registration renewed. But also, I feel like it's almost like when you go to the doctor's office. It's like you feel sick say you're getting sick, and you have that day where you're like pretty miserably sick enough to get you to schedule an appointment or to ask for an off day. And then by the time you get into the doctor's office, or by the time you're on the phone with your boss, somehow you just feel great,
Right.
Like Sunday when I did a morning shift, 7 to 3, I was like, okay, boy, am I going to just let loose, And then today I found myself getting up at the regular time, kind of full of energy, totally feeling like I could have gone to work.
Right, yeah.
And then kind of didn't know what to do with myself. Also, my cousin and I made a pact not to have an alcoholic drink for a month, and just kind of...
Wow.
Yeah, so that's been interesting. So just kind of hanging out, trying to be productive, being pretty sober. By pretty, I mean totally. But I don't know. It's been interesting, and I'm glad. I just kind of wanted to talk to you about it, I guess. My first job with paid holidays, I was like, cool, I'll do 3-day weekends. And, I used to have to fly back to Erie or fly to weddings or stuff like that. There was no real reason to take a full chunk week off. And I found myself kind of tired at the end of the year after taking a bunch of smaller vacations, I guess. I guess the older I'm getting, the more I realize sometimes you need those extended periods of time without work. Do you feel the same way? Or are you like, can a 3-day weekend do wonders for you?
So, what I did last year with the wood shop, I had 5 paid vacation that accrued, or you got them all after a year, and I ended up only staying a little less than a year and a half because we moved. So I saved those 5 days and we went to Argentina. And just still the whole time I was like, I'm getting paid. I'm not even in the same country as where I work. Like, it just felt so cool, So I did that. I took everything I had for those. I think it was 6 days actually, or 7 days that I had, and I got paid for those. But this year, basically after 3 months, you accrued like a certain amount of hours a week. So I didn't have them all at once. So I've done the 3-day weekends. I also had, I think, 7 sick days, and I used those. I think I only used them twice for being sick. I used one on a snow day just because I couldn't afford to not get the money. But I've been using them for 3-day weekends because we didn't have the money to actually go somewhere, like for a whole week, especially because Megan doesn't have paid time off, which she absolutely should as a manager. She has like health benefits, but not paid time off, whatever.
Sure.
But I think I'd prefer the bunch of mini vacations.
See, the only thing that was getting me with that was, and I guess this might be specific to living far from where you grew up, 2 of those 3 days are travel days. And I'd often,
yeah.
Like, for example, I went to Jake Gordon's wedding in Chicago. So flew in. That night was like the bachelor party. So I woke up at like 5 a.m. to catch the flight to get there. Then we ended up like kind of staying up, enjoying our time until 5 a.m. the next day. So it was like a 24-hour like body just like power burst. And then you're kind of spent for the weekend already. And then you do the wedding. Don't get me wrong. It was a weekend to remember, most certainly. But by the end of the day and the end of the wedding, and then you're like have to do the whole airport thing to get back. And then you fall into bed and go to work the next day, say it was the Monday or the Tuesday after. You're like, wait a minute, that barely felt like a vacation. It was more like, I don't know. I hate to use the word work hard, play hard because it sucks. But you know what I mean? Oftentimes, maybe, especially if there's travel involved, it's hard to really feel like you're getting the relaxation time. And I don't know, how much relaxation time does the body need other than approximately 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night? Like there are studies that say the work week should be 3 or 4 days, right? For like optimum.
Yeah, I think Sweden just went to 4 6-hour days like a year ago or something. That
sure.
I haven't looked into it, but yeah, I personally think that a 3-day weekend is optimal. Like I think you just said.
Well, I mean, science appears to be backing that, right? Like we are currently overworking ourselves, given the current 40-hour a week model with 5 days.
Yeah, and for those of us like myself who are doing 55-hour, like I'm so busy during
right.
the
Well, you're
week.
Also starting a small business too. You're right. So you are almost punishing yourself, and you have been doing that for like a year.
I mean, between my job and like the network, I'm doing easily over 70 hours, and it's so much all at once that when the weekend comes around, I'm so bored I want to fucking shoot myself,
That's also how you're wired, right? To a certain degree.
I think so. I don't really need time to like relax, I guess. I do like to, sit and, play some Zelda or write some music or whatever. But even when I'm playing Zelda, it's like, I gotta get this mission done. Like it is so like, there's such a purpose to it,
Right. I'll admit that I have a guilty pleasure of, that iPad game Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Sometimes after a work shift, I will just lay on a couch and just fucking play and just like smash those little colored pieces to shapes together for hours. And that is accomplishing nothing. It is helping my cognition 0%. It is advancing my brain and body's nothing, nowhere. But it feels good to veg out, I guess, every once in a while. That's probably bad, but I was living alone in Cleveland and in New Mexico. You try to read and do calisthenics and things like that, or just try to stay sharp or sharp in some aspect of your game, right? Or what you can do and what you know. But sometimes it does feel nice to just not, I guess. And what I wanted to ask you, kind of when you visited Cincinnati, did you get anything spiritually or physically out of that in terms of relaxation or clearing your head or coming back to center or?
Yeah, I think I prefer. I'll get into the question you just asked, but I think I prefer the 3-day weekend bursts because I like being home around the things that I use and do to like make me feel comfortable. I like having my studio. I like doing stuff on my computer.
Well, here's my next question.
Yeah,
You just
sure.
made me think of one, I guess. You went from coffee shop to wood shop, and you went from no paid vacation days to paid vacation days. Do you think that if you were exposed to a situation where you could take a week off, like a full week of work off in the year and still have more to take off for 3-day weekends, do you think that would be another thing where you could say, once you realize that, you could never go back? Or would you want to work through that week? And if your small business takes off and makes you money, would you be able to never take a vacation and always kind of be tuned in to a certain degree? Or how do you see it unfolding for you?
So I think having like 4 or 5 like mini weekend vacations in one big vacation would be ideal, right? Like that would be 2 weeks of paid vacation essentially, and you take one for a week and then a bunch of smaller ones. I would love that.
What would you be doing during that week?
I don't
try
know.
to
I feel
envision
like
that. I picture you not sitting still somehow.
I feel like it is hard to imagine doing something because I want there to be like a lot of purpose for something, or like I want it to be productive. Like, when I went to see you guys in Cincinnati, it was still like I'm going to hang out with my best friends, but then it was like I'm going to meet those D&D guys. I'm going to like hang out with Kyle and Kylie. I'm going to check out their recording space. I'm going to like make recommendations on how to soundproof it. Like there was a lot of stuff surrounding like productivity with the network and networking itself, and I wanted to see Kyle and Kylie too, just because they're my friends, but it was like, I try to fit as much into that time as possible. I do wish like I had 2 or 3 more days with you guys, but there is a point around like 4 or 5 days, like full days of like just being away that I'm like, damn dude, I miss not like the physical things, but like I miss my stuff. I miss being in my place that I've made to like make myself feel comfortable, and I think that just has to do with social anxiety. So that's why I prefer like the 3-day weekends. I think there's some exceptions. I did take a whole week. I think I was still working at a coffee shop, and I just took a week off. It was unpaid. It was after Megan graduated from grad school, and her mom sent us to Ocracoke Island off of North Carolina, and it was just the 2 of us, and it was amazing. I mean, that was like the pinnacle of relaxation for me. We woke up whenever we wanted.
What was the name of the island?
Ocracoke. It was like.
Could you use it in a sentence?
I like Ocracoke Island.
What's the country of origin? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
But Ocracoke.
Oshkosh Bagosh Island, where people defy gravity.
AARP named it one of like the
best
top
places to
5
die.
places for people to vacation. So it's like it's a very small community. It's
Wait,
all
what was the
tourism.
award again?
It was like AARP's like top 5 places to go on vacation. So it's like, it's not like a party scene, like the whole place shuts down at 9:00.
I'm picturing AARP like totally rebranding and like there being like a metal guitar like promo commercial like AARP named it the top 5 places to die, relaxation old style for old people. Wow, wow. Go to bed by 6. Wake up at 6.
But basically, we woke up, we had breakfast, we would ride our bikes to the beach. We would go to this coffee shop we found that opened the weekend that we got there, made friends with some of the locals. We'd either go to dinner or make dinner, which was just like the best seafood every night. And we had no schedule. We had nothing to accomplish. The only thing was I found a book in the rental house we were at, and I read the whole thing in like 3 days, and I could not put it down.
It's always nice to have the time to read. That's why I kind of like flying. You're kind of just stuck there, and you get to do not smartphone related things or being tuned in at all. You could read a magazine or really take your time, which feels nice.
Yeah. So I think like
also,
if I could
cut back to the AARP commercial guitar riff. Ochre Coke, more like take some Coke. Sorry.
Very nice.
Nah, it's not. I'm sorry to everybody for everything, always. And I will be better. Sorry, everyone.
So I usually find vacations to kind of be stressful because I've always taken them with like family, and Megan's family, like her dad especially, when we go somewhere with him, he's like, we're going to do 1,000 things a day, and we have this tight schedule in order to do everything. So it's like, oh my God, like it's just go, go, go all the time. It's like wake up at 5 a.m. to like make sure you get out to the beach to get the waves. And then,
he sounds like my dad.
Then it's like out until midnight. I'm like, holy hell, dude, this is the most exhausting, like kind of stressful thing in the world. So I feel like I've been, not just from like Megan's dad, which he's fucking awesome, by the way. I don't want to paint him the wrong way. My family is kind of like that too. Like we never went on vacations because we couldn't afford it. But a lot of the activity is super stressful. Just traveling with family is stressful. So the vacations that I've had have just been stressful to me. So I'll take a week by just myself and Megan and the dog. Always weekend trips with other people just to like, I don't know.
You know what I've noticed? Yeah. When it's the 5 of us, my brother, sister, mother, and father, it usually goes off the rails quicker. But I have noticed that if it's only 4 out of 5, no matter the combination, it always works a little better. Do you have anything like that? Or I don't know, like you mentioned the waking up at 5 every day. We were giving my sister a ride back from one of her travel nursing assignments in Los Angeles. And she drove up to meet us in Las Vegas. We flew in. We went to go see a bunch of the Utah national parks. And we hit a lot of the national parks on our way all the way back to Pittsburgh. We went to Seven Springs, actually, for a family reunion after that drive. But my dad was like, oh, we'll hit Zion and Moab and Bryce Canyon and this and that. You know, we ended up at Badlands and one of the Dakotas and all that. But we were going to bed at 10 every night and waking up at 5 every night. You know what I mean? Like not even really like, what? Is this vacation or is this torture, a weird form of torture? But like you said, that's not to paint it in a bad light because you got to see a third of the best national parks the country has to offer.
Oh, yeah,
right?
For sure.
So in that instance, it was good. But Megan's dad sounds like my dad a lot. Like he literally created the spreadsheet that was necessary to plan such a venture. It's like, oh, we're going to vacation? Yeah, just let me open up Excel real quick. Like, what percentage of the population would think to do that first? Right. And they have to, oh, cool, vacation, nice. Let me just start to file away my thoughts and create a schedule.
Yeah, that's not my vibe. I like to just sit around on vacation. But like I said, the contrast to that is I don't like doing that. Or not that I like to sit around.
I mean, that's the catch-22, right? You either have the type of people with you that just zen out or veg a bit. You know, I will say this, to the go-getter people who spreadsheet it, you see more, right? Like you experience more and see more. And a little structure, I got to say, I might lean that way in terms of, you know, having the time off. Like, well, if you're going to a place, can you really enjoy it? Things like that. Hopefully Levi's having a good day.
He's going crazy. I don't know
He needs to go to Ochre Coke, dude.
I know. He's got to... Yeah.
No, he needs less Coke. He needs.
So Megan's dad, he worked for the government, and he said something one day, and he's like, I mean, yeah, when you get a job, you start with 4 weeks of paid vacation. And I was like, what the fuck?
What job?
Like, what do you do for 4 weeks of like, oh my God, you know? I struggle to fill 2, and I guess if you're working a job like that, it pays well enough to afford vacations. But I still have like some sick time that I haven't taken yet. That's another thing. So my salary or my hourly pay or whatever, if I only work 40 hours a week, it's not very much. So we try to hit 50 hours a week. So if you use one day of sick day or vacation, or if it's a holiday, you just don't hit overtime, because those like 8 hours not only is 3 hours less than we usually work a day, but it doesn't count towards overtime. So if you take a sick day, it costs me like $300, because then I don't get any overtime for the week. So that's another thing that's kind of a unique problem. With like me compared to you, where I rely on just a ton of hours.
Right.
So yeah, I try to avoid it when I can, but I'm more inclined to take a sick day if it's the same week as a holiday where I'm already not getting overtime. I don't know if that.
Okay. So you there's a method to the madness. To a certain degree.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
as we kind of wrap this up in the time allotted for the show. Takes its natural course. Sum up what we've talked about. You enjoy more little vacations. You embrace the 3-day weekend.
I do. I love them, and I think a lot of that has to do with not being able to afford like going anywhere for a whole week. And it's made harder by having a dog, of course, But I think if I was living in a perfect world, I would have a minimum of 2 weeks vacation, paid vacation, 1 week, a full 7 days somewhere like nice, somewhere different, and then doing like 4 weekend vacations, even if it's just renting out a cabin in the woods for a weekend, long weekend, 2 hours from home. I would love to do a bunch of those.
Give me the day version. You have 1 day to center yourself. What do you do?
I usually do a bunch of laundry and play Zelda and watch Netflix.
Okay, so get a little stuff done. I think laundry might have to, there's certain like things you have to accomplish to set yourself up to have better days. That I think there's a lot to be said for also being somewhat productive on your off days too, right? I mean, if you do actually nothing and still have dirty laundry on the front end of another work week, then
you can't enjoy that.
Have you really centered yourself? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Right.
Bunch of posers out there pretending they're centered but wearing dirty clothes. Not going to Oshkosh Bagosh Island and not defying gravity. Just wrapping it all up here nice and neat. Okay, shall we move on to the Now You Know segment?
Now you know.
Yeah, let's do it.
I believe it's your turn, sir, as I educated the world about Maria the First, Mad Maria of Portugal, last week. Check out the show. It was enlightening. To anyone who's ever played the game Civilization and not played as Maria the First, I urge you to change your ways.
So I don't really like giving these without sources to back up the claims. I think that's super important, especially with all the, I hate to say it, but hashtag fake news out there.
Well, we're not exactly a news program, so there's not much to worry about. I mean, your first Now You Know something, it was about how fast like loads would be sent through data chips. So like we're not exactly, there's no huge scoops coming out of this. Also, do you blur the word I just used? How's that going to get censored?
I just set a marker there because I don't think you can see that.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go ahead and bleep as much of that as you should. You should. Anyway, no pressure, man. No pressure.
So I have a Now You Know that absolutely cannot be in this show, but I wanted to tell you because I did some pretty intense math to figure it out. But I have 2 short ones for this week since I didn't feel comfortable just giving the one without any like statistics or something with it. But my first one, this is almost more of like a Today I Learned subreddit, but right. Megan has an Amazon Prime account. And
word?
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Which I accidentally paid for. It like auto paid through a credit card that I had on there, and so we kind of share it to get free fast shipping, and I bought all of her Christmas presents on that Amazon Prime account, and she got emails for every single present that I bought her.
Awesome.
And everything that I bought her was from Amazon, so she knows everything that she's getting. So if you share an Amazon Prime account with someone, make sure it's not under their email because they will know everything.
Sure.
That's number one.
No, that happened to me too. I ordered some stuff for Jessie, and it was sitting at our door before we both got home from work. She was like, "Oh, cool mail." It was like a bunch of like things that would be gifts. Like, oh. It's like, yeah, that was like a month ago. So now it's like, well, I just got you a little something to have to open on the day, and I'm sitting here upset by that somehow. Like, sure, yeah, something to open on the day. I just bought like three of the most. I mean, I just spent all my thoughtfulness on these three. It's like somehow upset that there's still more Christmas joy to be had. Like my sister's coming home to Erie, and she was like, "Oh, it's a cheap Christmas. Let's just call it even on this thing." And then like I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like we made a deal that we're good on this Christmas. Like handshake deal. We're just going to see each other and have a, a cheersing, clank some beers together, blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Well, I just got everybody a little something," and it felt like a Seinfeld episode where I'm just getting irate over something small, but it's like we had a fucking deal. Like I feel like someone in an action movie, like you signed the fucking contract, you son of a, like something small. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? And it's like I thought we had a deal. I don't like the way you conduct business, and quite frankly, I'm upset by it. So now there's like a scramble to. There's two just small things to open on Christmas that I have to match in thoughtfulness. And I really feel like Larry David, and I'm sorry, but it's upsetting to me because I thought, long story short, I have to be better with my mail and where it ends up and wrapping things more quickly. And that's on me. I will admit my faults. But the whole just something small to open up on, just so you have something to open thing is it's really giving me fits this year, Tom. That was a bit of an aside. My apologies to the listeners, but man, there are just some people. There's no rules. There's no rules. It's a free for all, and quite frankly, it's unfair. So,
speaking of presents, I mailed you something, which we'll have to get back to you later.
What the f- was that all about? What am I supposed to get you now? I don't have time before Christmas to send you anything. You son of a bitch. You're ruthless. You're fucking ruthless. You know that?
We'll get to that later.
No,
we'll
kidding.
Tease it right now.
It was a delight. Yeah, that'll be the last thing we talk about on the show.
So my other now you know, since the segment isn't over.
Sure. Super clean segue there. Just because I know was the last thing you said before I started talking, Pat, what grinds your gears? It's like, oh, Tom, well, glad you asked because I have a few words this week to touch on. Anyway, yeah, before I will not delay you anymore.
All right, so
wait, the first now you know was be careful about sharing a Prime account with people you're getting gifts for?
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I'm subscribed to the Ask Reddit subreddit on Reddit, and there was like someone posted, comment your like most interesting fact or whatever, and I forwarded it to you, and I was like, oh my god, now you know segments for life. There were like 23,000 comments. And one that I found interesting, and again, I don't have any numbers or data on it, and I feel bad for that. But the stat said the U.S. government is the biggest consumer, or they buy the most explosives like per year. And guess who number 2 is for buying the most explosives every year?
Somebody that buys like a fifth of the ones we buy?
No, it's Disney.
Oh, word?
Right.
Oh,
and
word?
So I was like, oh yeah, they do fireworks every day in like 2 different locations, and it is a huge fireworks show. But someone also brought up a very good point that they probably use explosives in their movies as well, correct? So maybe that contributes to a small fraction of it. But yeah, I thought it was super interesting. And again, I don't have any
Wasn't
data
the
to back
subreddit
this
called
up.
like things that make you go,
It was something like that, yeah.
Well, consider me hummed. It's a hell of a thing there, Tom, to even consider.
So, yeah, the only person that buys
But that's the
more
price of doing
explosives
business,
than
Tom.
Disney is the
You know,
US
at the end of the
government.
day, you got to do what you got to do, you know?
Oh, I know.
Hey there, guy. Hey there, Bob.
Hey there, bud.
Okay there, bye. Okay there.
Okay, let's move on.
But no, seriously, that's quite something.
Good.
And when I don't say that lightly, Tom, listen to me. I don't say it lightly that I said after the fact was presented.
I don't lightly.
I mean it from the bottom of my cold, dead heart, in which there is now an icebox where it used to be. Okay?
All right. Speaking of cold, dead heart, I didn't listen to your song, and I'm sorry.
That is tough. That's tough. I guess I'll just have to use it again, mother.
Did you listen to mine?
I did, and there's something unlikable about the lead singer, but it's catchy, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm going to sit here and be against catchy songs, then I might lose who I ever was to begin with. But there's something weirdly unlikable about the lead singer. I can't help it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know the band that well. They're called, what are they called again?
Heavy Eyes.
Right, Heavy Eyes, and the song is called Bad, and the music video is very clean, very sharp. They must be a successful band based on the quality of the video. And it was catchy, kind of like channeling a little Michael Jackson as much as a 20-something hipster-looking white guy can, I guess. It was catchy. Again, something distinctly hateable about the lead singer. Nothing against him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But catchy. It was all right. It was pretty good.
No, I totally agree. He's pulling this, like, look how sexy I am vibe. Like, I don't know.
Right, you can't be like the whiny alt band, how can I ever find love because of how quirky I am? If you're handsome, dancing like MJ, and using like that, what's the name of that, the sound of that bass beat? Like, dom, 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 dom. You know, like that they were using in the chorus.
But okay, so it's my buddy Taylor who produced them, and he also plays guitar in the band. Luke Holland is a very famous drummer who plays in their band. They're like a super group, you know. And
Sure.
I like that it's like if the 1975 and the soundtrack from Stranger Things had a baby, that's like what their band would be, and I dig it. But
like a baby with Kelly Clarkson's son or something? I don't know.
I heard the song before I watched the video, and after watching the video, I was like, I can't think about this video when I'm listening to the song now.
Wait, who's having a baby with who?
Stranger Things soundtrack and the 1975.
That's close. That's really close.
That's
but
good,
like Madonna
right?
too. Like there's a third heat there that makes it just weirder than, because what you're describing sounds awesome, and this was not as awesome as what that baby would be, I feel like.
I think if you take away the visuals, it is an incredible song. But yeah, the guy, it's like, dude, stop looking at the camera so sexually and like singing.
It's
with
like you're
your
too
head
handsome
the
to be
side.
sad. Like, fuck off. I don't believe it. You're a fraud. Eat No, just kidding. It's the season of giving, and I will give him props for making a pretty catchy song.
Cool.
So you did not listen to Percolator off of Guppy by Charlie Bliss, which is one of my favorite records this year.
Just totally forgot.
It's cool. I can't get mad at you because there's at least more than half the time I don't listen to yours. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but also add one for you called Skywalker by Miguel. It's a damn jam, if I do say so. So yeah, I'm going to go Percolator or Black Hole by Charlie Bliss off of their 2017 release Guppy, and also Skywalker, which might be two words, by Miguel. It is that Miguel. He the boy can sing, the boy can dance, and he knows his way around a beat. I can say that much, Tom. Boy, does he. Not Big L, Miguel. I'm watching you type in the doc. Although Big L would be a hell of a name.
Big L. There you go.
There you go. Your song of the week is You've Got a Friend in Me by Randy Newman.
So, okay, I don't know where this came up, but all of a sudden I thought about Toy Story. I thought about that song, and I did a lot of research on Toy Story over the past couple days. I wanted to do a Toy Story theme Now You Know segment, but I didn't have the time.
We should do a Toy Story episode.
Okay, yeah.
We had one on Scrubs and Blink-182. Toy Story's read. Woody and TJ Detweiler are two of my like spiritual guides.
But like Woody from
No, the fictional cartoon.
Yeah, no, he had a dark side, man. For sure. But
yeah,
relatable.
But there's growth. There's character growth throughout the trilogy. You know what? We should just save it for the Toy Story episode, quite frankly.
Okay, so
I just can't even right now with you, Tom. I just can't even.
So I started
Did
learning
he try to
the
murder
song.
Buzz? Yes. You know what? I'm already getting worked up about it.
So I started learning this song on guitar. There was a video on YouTube of like this guy singing it with his 4-year-old daughter, and it was adorable. And I didn't realize that this song was literally written for Toy Story. Megan was like, well, this song's been around way long, like before Toy Story. I was like, was it? And it was written for the movie. Randy Newman did the whole soundtrack to that movie. And
Pretty cool.
I think that it's just, it's a beautiful song. And to be completely honest with you, I've listened to nothing but Taylor Swift for the past week.
Okay.
And the song from last week, Bad by Heavy Eyes. I didn't want to give another Taylor Swift song, so I just wanted you to revisit an old classic, You've Got a Friend in Me by Randy Newman. But I will also highly recommend that you watch, if you have an Apple TV, especially, it's on Apple Music, the 1989 World Tour video by Taylor Swift is insanity. I watched it 1.5 times, and it's like over 2 hours long. If you have access to the 1989 World Tour, I'd make it a priority, especially over this long holiday weekend.
Okay.
If you don't, I'll give you access to it. I think you can maybe sign in with my thing.
Well, after we did the Katy Perry Taylor Swift episode, which listeners can look up and listen to if we want, which was unplanned and just became a debate. I think we both realized we were Taylor Swift fans during that episode, but I went and I watched the Katy Perry documentary, as we've discussed before, and I think I watched parts of a live performance. It was like the first stop on the Red tour. I imagine the 1989 tour was a little more polished because she had been, the size star that she is now for about a year or two at that point. So she was still kind of unpolished at the beginning of the Red tour, I noticed. Anyway, I'll watch it. I'm interested. Maybe we can revisit the Katy Perry Taylor Swift thing again.
Yeah. And I honestly want to make a Taylor Swift podcast now. There's already a very successful one out there, at least 2 of them. But I have been obsessed with Taylor Swift lately, and especially after watching this documentary, which is more of a live performance with like her talking on camera, documentary style in between the songs, shows a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Obviously, you know that she is an absolute fucking star, but it's hard to comprehend the scale of who she is. And after seeing her perform to a stadium of 76,000 people, with sets that move and hydraulics and fireworks, like, damn, I don't know, dude. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
If I watch that, you got to watch the Katy Perry movie.
I will.
Because she has some sets too, Tom, okay? Jeez.
I know that Katy Perry's known for, doing, especially like that Super Bowl performance coming in on the the More You Know star. But anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. I love Taylor Swift.
Would that be a soapbox? I guess it would be.
I guess so.
Hey, what do you know?
We skipped highlight.
Well, I suppose we have.
You want to go?
Yeah, okay. This week was cool because I saw Star Wars, and it was good.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was,
okay.
We have never really talked about Star Wars. I don't think you're a fan, right?
I'm not a fan. I've just never seen it.
That's fine. There's not much to say other than I don't really want to accidentally spoil it for anybody, but it was quite something. I enjoyed it. I was thoroughly entertained. And yeah, Disney can make as many Star Wars movies as they want. I don't really care. People are getting upset about the whole Ocean's 11 reboot with the female cast. I'm like, why do people keep getting upset about that shit? Like, let Hollywood make all the movies you want. You don't have to see them in theaters. Just like read blog posts about it and decide what to watch later anyway. It's probably a more efficient way. It's like Make
Right.
fucking 7 more Ocean's 11s with women. And I don't care. If 2 of the 7 entertain me on a bus ride someday, then I will consider that a win. You know, people need to settle down. Like there was a tweet this week, like stop getting angry that the new Star Wars movie didn't make you feel how you felt when you were 10 and first saw it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know, grow up. Fucking the female remakes, new Star Wars. People just, I don't know. Are people like, do people want to be upset? It's very puzzling to me. Anyway,
Yeah, for sure.
everyone settle down. It's fucking the holiday season. Spread some joy for once. For once, can we have a nice? This is why we can't have nice things, etc. Can't we just enjoy ourselves this one time?
Yep. My highlight, we got off super early on Friday of last week, and my friend Jimmy and I went into Denver. We went to a bar that his friend was working. He bought me one of the best burgers I've ever had, and they had cornhole, and I just come off a devastating cornhole loss while in Cincinnati.
Yes, it was embarrassing.
So we went to play there, and it wasn't regulation. It wasn't the 27-foot from board to board.
Man, did you really play it?
But we were playing, and I was losing like 5-18 or something. It was bad.
Sure. Were you playing cancel out?
Yes.
Okay.
So I made my way up. We were eventually 19-20.
Wow.
And I went bust again. And then I made my way.
Does that take you back down to 13, or am I thinking of 21, the basketball?
I think it's 15, I think.
Okay. But it's the same rules as 21 in basketball, kind of? If you go over the set score, you go back down to a certain amount?
Yeah. So I went down to 15, and then it was 20-15. We were both 20-20, and it was like to the point where like I would sink one in the hole, he would sink one, I would sink one, and again they were closer, so it was probably 3/4 of the distance, but like we would each get 3 cornholes in a single round. Like it was the closest game ever. He ended up winning at the last moment. It was neck to neck. It was an honor to lose to him. Also, the leasing agent at my building was there watching us play, which was another like funny
Through
thing.
his sunglasses.
Right. But it was just nice to like hang out with my friend Jimmy and ate some food. I had 3 Shirley Temples.
Hey, whoa.
And I mean, I was like literally, it was probably 50 degrees out there because it was kind of like an inside-outside area, and I was sweating and my heart was like pounding from cornhole. It was just
That's
such
some
a close
high-octane
game.
hole.
Yeah.
Not bad, my man.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Smoke them if you got them. Sounds like a blast. Yeah, and best of luck to your landlord. I hope he finds what he's looking for. He sounds like he's going through a rough patch or something.
So going back to what we alluded to earlier, I sent you a package that wasn't supposed to get to you until tomorrow.
Right. One of those, just something to open on Christmas Day, real low-key things that, no, really, it's no big deal. Not just kidding.
So what I wanted to do
I opened my door this morning on Tuesday when we record and found the box, and I had no idea. It's a glass only, fragile, that you had written, and I was like, what the f***? Like, I knew you were sending something, but I thought it was a wedding invitation.
Right, and what I wanted was to tell you on the podcast today that there's a package that will be there tomorrow, and when I saw that it showed up already, I called you to be like, don't open it while we're recording, and you were like, I already opened it.
Right.
So do you want to explain what it is?
Yeah, I suppose I do. It was, to my surprise, a framed picture, an illustration of the nerdy octopus from Ron Carnage. And it was pretty damn good. I was surprised. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you would have more to say. All I have to say is that it was a very pleasant surprise for a Tuesday. I didn't really know what to say to you on the phone other than it was just really cool. He's got his legs I was looking at it again. His legs are definitely a little fat. Like he's a grown octopus, full grown, it would appear. But yeah, the book's coming along, it sounds like. And I thought you've been wanting to do something with the octopus for a while now. And that was really fucking cool. It was a pleasure. And thank you very much for sending that.
Yeah. So like, Yeah, the Nerdy Octopus, I think, was your favorite character, and we were talking about having plush dolls made.
Well, it came out of nowhere because it's supposed to be a Lord of the Rings knockoff, and then all of a sudden there was a side story about a struggling actor, Octopus, a character actor who's really nerdy, and he wears glasses, and you don't think he's going to be involved in the story, but he ends up anyway. You know, that'll all. Anyway, it was just a very pleasant, cool surprise to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I was stoked because like we wanted to have the plush dolls made, and we needed some kind of reference if we wanted them made. And I was like, yo, there's this guy I found on Twitter. His name is Cameron McCafferty, and he's like a young dude who like I think I was like his third commission. I was his third invoice on PayPal anyway. He does character design, and I was kind of asking you like what you think he looks like. Gene the Nerdy Octopus, because I couldn't quite get it all figured out myself, but I worked with this dude. He's got like I'll put a photo in the show notes as well. elemental.fm/reminiscent/56. It's a really amazing illustration. He's got like a flask in one hand, a cigarette in the other, with like the most realistic looking smoke I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it looked like
it's cool.
It looked like the octopus was just waving his tentacle, you know. He's got these nerdy sunglasses, and when we started out, I was like,
nerdy regular glasses, like thick rim.
And at first, I was like, maybe his eyes should be like red and like kind of bloodshot because he's like,
he looks fucked up in that painting.
Okay, so you should have seen it before. His eyes were like super red because I was thinking he's a starving artist. He's got a drinking problem. He's just like a little bit burnt out.
But he's not a young starving artist. He's like old in the book, right? He's a middle-aged man who's become a character actor, but not that successful of one.
Right. And he's got like kind of a positive attitude. He's like, oh, it'll be okay. So like at first his eyes were like.
But with that said, it sounds like he's also ready to give up Hollywood for good, right?
Right, and like those were the two things I was trying to portray, like in the illustration.
The artist was probably so pissed off. Like, let me ask the people involved what's going on, and it's like, well, like all these character traits that have nothing to do with what he looks like.
So we started off with like really bloodshot eyes, and I was like, well, he should be smiling because he's got like a good attitude, and he just looked stoned as fuck. Like it was.
Right, and he's more of he doesn't smoke weed, I don't think. He hasn't yet, anyway. Maybe he will do some nettle stuff based on what we've seen the other characters.
So I sent a picture to Kyle, and I was like, what do you think about this? And he was like, yeah, he looks like he's high as a fucking kite, you know?
Right.
It was something with the smile. So we had to like do 3 different versions of the octopus's smile and like tone down the red in his eyes to not look stoned, but just look really tired.
Like he drank enough to keep the demons away or something that particular day. Yeah.
So that was challenging. There was a lot of back and forth on getting the eyes and the smile right.
Damn.
This was about the best we could get, but
it was a really cool gift. I got to say that was awesome. I'm excited to see what the finished product ends up being.
Yeah, I really want to get.
How many months have passed since the idea first came out of your mouth? Like since you first uttered the name?
It was in the episode 40s for sure.
Okay, so 4 months, something like that.
No, like maybe 2.
Wow.
Let me see.
So it's come a long way. It's 2/3 done or something. It sounds like.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was episode 42, which was September 8th. Holy hell! It has been a while.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I know that you loved him as a character, and
I do. I fucking love the Nerdy Octopus. Not that I don't like the whatever the Ron Carnage is supposed to be doing, but as far as a totally unrelated weird side story, I think it's great. And I still don't really know how it even happened. I think you, as the owner of Elemental, asked for there to be some kind of animal sidekick, and you got a bunch in return. There's like 3 talking animals in this story, and somehow like the octopus also stuck. And is a really important character in what's been going on. So,
he
just met up with the dudes in real life. It's right at last check.
Yeah.
Which And that after that, they're going to bring it home, right? It's going to be finished pretty soon, it sounds like.
I think so. I
There's
mean,
not much
we're
left
at least
to do in this first version of the story. Doesn't sound like.
Yeah, it's coming along. I was talking to Aaron Lonke about it over the weekend, and I think I'm gonna send him what has been revised so far.
What did he say?
He just said he thought it sounded amazing, like the concept of it. So
Sure. Yeah. Share the doc with him.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited that we have like the visual of a character. I had one framed for myself as well.
Nice.
And I sent you the one and
Of
apologized.
which our significant
to
others
Jesse.
probably won't let us hang them in the house, which is probably
Right.
the best.
I in the card I apologized to Jesse.
Right.
Megan was like, "Well, that can go in your room, like keep it the fuck out of our room."
Right.
But yeah, it was cool. I
it was great.
wanted to surprise you with that.
I'm interested to hear what Aaron thinks, because he's, what do you call that when like the person something's cloned off of? Like he's listener number one or something. How would you say that?
I don't know.
Like, how do we address him formally? Because everybody's been a version of Aaron since who joins the program.
Patient number 0, is that it?
Patient 0? Yeah, he was patient 0. I think that's what I'm looking for. Anyway, yeah, it was a hell of a gift. There will be a picture in the show notes. It's he looks nerdy but grizzled. Like, I don't know. It's so perfect. I really fucking love it. And hopefully he can help the fellas save the day in the book that's going to come from Elemental FM in the future.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, dude.
And then hopefully, it sounds like there's also just an Octopus book also on the horizon. It sounds like.
I feel like Gene is so awesome. There should be a whole book about him.
That was last time I checked in. I guess it seemed to be that the thought process,
Right.
like an autobiography from his point of view or something.
That'd be so awesome.
But
yeah,
it's really cool. And fans of the show, can they buy it from the dude or something if they want it? I don't know.
The illustration or what?
Yeah, I don't know. How does that work?
I mean, I can email it to people.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Make it a sticker or something. Anyway.
Ooh, yeah.
You're a big sticker guy for sure.
You know what? I already have a shop set up where you can buy t-shirts and stickers and stuff like that. I put the design up and then people can buy whatever they want, like a phone case, a coffee mug. I'm going to put it online and you can buy it if you want as anything.
Yeah.
I'll put a link in next week's show notes. I'll have it ready.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, take care. Happy Merry Christmas. And we'll get into some New Year stuff next week.
Yeah. New Year's episode next week. Yes. And this will be the last episode before Christmas, so I'll probably put the Christmas-themed intro and outro, even though we already did the Christmas episode. True. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you all, and to all a good everything.
Defy gravity, y'all.
All right, dude, love you.
Bye, love you too.
Bye.
Ba 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 ba.